Well, welcome everyone. The fact that you have made it here tonight is unto itself a massive achievement, not just because it's the eclipse, but because we had some very strange Mercury retrograde style newsletter email situations. So the fact that you're here and there's so many is amazing. And I know Elle and I are just really deeply grateful to all of you who rolled with it and found your way. So deep gratitude. Before we dive in and try to do the beautiful impossible work that is integrating the beautiful and impossible work of the eclipse today, I just want to make a couple of quick announcements. One is that the next class at the Sacred Center and also held online is coming up the first weekend in May 4th and 5th. That's the Spring Chill class. You've probably heard this before, but in case you haven't, in order to take it, we invite you to take the online video on demand intro class. And you can dive in with Elle at any time with this Spring Chill class to begin your cycle of 4 classes to become a certified Chumpi Illumination practitioner, or just to take one class to try it out and see what magic we have in store. And then the second thing we want to bring to your attention is that the next Peru trip, there are still a few seats open, and Ella's feeling like it's time to get this planned and get everybody on board. So it's coming up in September. All the details are on the website at sacredcenter.net. And we're going to be actually diving into some of the energy of Machu Picchu tonight. So maybe that will get you inspired to think about coming to Peru this fall. So without further ado, we will dive in. Ella, I'm asking to unmute you.
Hey, okay. Hi, everybody. What a day, what a time, right? It was January, now it's like April, and like we're talking about September for Peru. It's kind of like jumping ahead in time. It's just crazy, relationship to time. But yeah, we haven't had one of these calls for I guess 2 months. So I mean, I'm not sharing anything new about like what is going on out there and in here. Just so happened that we decided to do the class today, which, we're all about 12 states of consciousness. And we had the earthquake here in New York on 4/8. And today is 4/8. So I'm just saying 12, okay? So, but it just seems like everything is really like synced up. And as I've been told every year, and especially this year, from Easter for 40 days, the veils between the worlds are very thin. So there's like no separation between we're here and our angels, our guides, whatever you want to call it, is there. There's like this integration and awareness that we're all part of the same reality. Some are more higher frequencies and some aren't. So then it just so happened that last time we had 7. So this call is all about 8, and 8 is the symbol of 8. The 8 Chumpi is purification. So it's in the middle of the first 7, and then there's 8. And then there's 9 is awakening. So 8 is sort of where, where you try to learn about non-duality, where there's this choice and that choice. And then there's the struggle between what to choose. And so to really surrender to allow the universe or the star beings or the angels or whatever you want to call them to really guide us into a greater way or a more holistic way of being in the reality. And then the choices sort of become clearer. So that's kind of like, I think, one of the intentions of the work that we do with the Chumpies is to try to evolve out of this dualistic stress that we're in all the time. We need to do this, but we have to do that, choose this or that, choose that or that. And 8 is the symbol of infinity. And it's just constantly being on that roll where you just step back, surrender, and see what comes in first, right? And the state is called purification, because in doing that, the jam up kind of releases. There's a jam up in us and it releases. And these stubborn things like, but I always wanted that. And I thought I would get that. And I couldn't do that. And whether it's relationship, money, et cetera, it's all the same thing, where the mind thinks it knows what it needs to do, but then that lane does not work. I call it a jam up. When it jams up, you're like in the middle of the 8, right? You're letting it flow. Something surrenders to something greater than yourself. And I mean, I know everybody knows this, and then all of a sudden you get an email, oh, this is available, or, well, no, but you have this waiting for you. And then things just, move on. And so it's just really releasing that stuck brain that we have. And 8 is a very important symbol of the 12. Each one of them is a state of consciousness, and we symbolically use the chumpies to hold what these states of consciousness are. That's one of the great gifts of it, is because we're holding 8, because then our brains go, oh, here it is. It's not like floating around in some prayer or something like that. I mean, that's great too, but so 8 also connects with the waters. 8 unifies with the water, which we call, each one of the chumpies has its counterpart, which is a water, which sort of came organically. Like, I've been going to Peru for over 20 years, and every time I go to one of these lagoons, which there's, with every sacred mountain, there's like a lagoon in front. And it's like the body and the water, what we're made of. And like, people go up to the mountain, and then they let go of their hucha in the lagoon, in the water. Hucha is heavy energy. And so along the way, I thought, oh, let me bring some of these waters back. And I put them in a little Pepsi bottle, or my guide would do it for me. I'd say, go over there in that, sacred lagoon. He'd get some, or the waterfall. And then when I came back over time, I thought, wow, maybe, I kept checking them, and they still had the frequency over time. The frequency of it never went away, right? And there was something very different about these waters, because they originate in a place that nobody knows. Like the one this one comes from Machu Picchu, and I got it right now. I could never get away with putting trickling water in Machu Picchu in a bottle. Like, it's so, everything's so guarded. But then, water's trickling down on these rocks from Machu Picchu, and you take a little bottle and you put it in there, stick it in your pocket, and off you go. Never do that. It wouldn't happen. And I kept asking them, where's the water coming from? And they said, well, it's unknown. They would never tell you where the origin of it is. And of course, it's from deep within the earth. So it's that kind of water that we're made of, right? So the water that sort of parallels to this 8, Chumpi, is bridging worlds, I called it. And it's perfect too, because we're always talking about this physical world, the emotional world, and the spiritual world. Well, it's time, especially with this eclipse, to, find a bridge. Actually, that's the path of the shaman or the healer, it's to stand between both worlds, correct? Right? I mean, so that's kind of what the energy is today. Now, the eclipse happening on this day, I didn't plan it this way, believe me. And, we got the glasses, and I'm like, there's this, one of the magical parts about today is that like thousands and thousands and millions of people are connecting all around the world, and they're connecting on a really sincere, if not like they're just kind of like interested, but it's a very positive energy. Everybody's, you could feel it, like just this, oh, what is this? It's like, what is this that I can't really see, that I really don't know too much about, but it's happening in my lifetime right now. So that's kind of the energy of 8 as well. And so you're looking at the moon, which is very symbolic of our emotionality. The moon, like according to the phases of the moon, you feel sad, you feel anger, you feel happy, whatever. And then the sun, which is our source, it's the great father, it's the light, it's the fire that feeds our blood system, is being blocked by emotionality. And so really it's a day where you can never block the energy, the fire of the sun, like our birthright, like like our life could never be blocked. By the end of, I think just the addition of today, one of the most important points I'd like to share is that we know in ourselves that the source, that which supports us, never goes away. We're never abandoned. It's always there. So whatever we go through with emotionality, we always have that that awareness that we're being held by I call it the greater reality, or the light, or whatever else you want to call it, life force, right? Again, you could do both. You could feel sad, you could feel angry, but at the same time, you're hopeful, or you have some sort of like inspiration, right? Because we can't bypass the fact that we go through hardships. We're human, right? We go through karmic hardships, and we're human. But this is like a real, I think, a step in the evolution of ourselves right now. And everything is conspiring on our behalf. And so I feel like today is not just because I had the call today, but I think just that, I'm sure everybody on the call feels like there's something, what's that word, where everything falls into place, And yet when you looked at you looked up, you were like, oh, that's it. Oh, okay. And it was like not a big deal, right? It wasn't like, oh my gosh, a starship. No, it was like, oh, okay. Which is also, a great example of duality, right? We were waiting for this, and then it was like, oh, okay, there's a little shadow over this. So anyway, that's kind of the entrance to what we're going to do. So now everyone here has either stones or chumpies? No?
Well, why don't you suggest, let them know what they might need and how many they would, if they don't have chumpies, to how many stones they might need to find in their home or nearby.
So one of the things that became clearer and clearer, especially recently, is that, when you want to embody something spiritual, let's call it, you go to a special place, right? The top of a mountain. Everybody has their special place where they can stop thinking and just be in like a temple, right? So when we create the forms around us with the chumpies, it's like we're creating a temple or a template around us. And then we can really be free to really embody the energy of it. So we always have a form. And I just got this for today for all of us. And it comes out like in this book, there's cards. If you don't have anything, there's cards that represents the stones. And there's basic forms in the book, and it explains it in greater detail. But we're going to use 8 chumpies. Hopefully I can see this. So the there's going to be 4 chumpies around like just like sort of a square, like that's our physicality, that's our humanity right there, the heart is in the middle of it, right? And then we're going to pick 2 more, one that goes way above our head and one that goes below our feet. And that creates like a double terminated, that creates like a diamond shape or a double terminated crystal, right? So it's taking our physicality, and just by putting the chumpy above and below, it's bringing our energy out to something non-dualistic.
But
And
Ellie said 8 chumpies. Are there 6 or are there 8?
oh, I'm sorry, 6.
Okay.
Thank- Yeah, 6, 4, and then 2. Now, you should, this has been for the last year or so, we've been always putting a stone on the heart, just because we want to bring, we want to really source our mind, body, and spirit from the heart center. We want to, see the heart as the seat of who we are, or feel the heart as the seat of who we are. So we want to, sort of grow into a non-personal heart. So we sort of anchor it at the heart space. Does anybody have any questions about that? No? Okay. And just so you know, like, so as I play the sound, so the formula is always like a form, which is this, an intention, right? Or a thought, which is bridging worlds, and sound equals transformation, right? That's an ancient formula. It's in every tradition. It's in every tradition that thought plus form plus sound equals transformation. So I will play the sounds. Now, like the first sound that I play, or that plays me actually, is kind of like like just feel your body, feel it being held around, by this form, by the stones, right? And then the second sound, or I'll try to switch sounds, maybe I won't, maybe I will, but then you just visualize, like sort of like a more expanded state. Anyway, you can forget everything I'm saying right now. I'm just going to sort of say it and then you can forget it. So it's more like you'll be laying there and you'll go like, what's going on? And you'll feel the form around you, and then just let go and just try to be in a meditative state just with the sound. You let go and then just see where that takes you. And then, with something on your heart, just anchor it all in your heart. Have a symbol for on your heart. Any questions? Yeah.
So just the thought, Dana, just like to think about whatever comes, or to bring in the bridging of the worlds, like that. Is that the intention?
The intention is to bridge, to step into surrender of thought, right? So you're bridging the worlds of we're in a 3D world, and just outside of this is a little bit like outside the collective. So we're always practicing to like make that easy for us. Not that we have to go somewhere, do something, really expand our energy system, and through like meditation and this, because it's not really meditation, because it has this form around us. What happens is with this form, you're like, oh, okay, I got this. It's like you're laying in a pyramid, and you feel very supported with that. So you don't have to try hard. But something might come up, like say you're in an expanded or meditative state, something might come up emotionally, or you'll think about something, just let it be. don't do anything about it, just see it. And see where, it right? Don't try to not make it, don't try to not think.
Right. Okay.
Shay has her hand up too. Shay, go ahead and unmute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I'm literally driving a car that won't move. Long story, had a bad week. Eclipse hit me hard, but I want to participate. I should be home in 5 minutes. I have number 10 on me and Ganesh and this round wheel thing that you gave me from Peru. So I know this sounds crazy, but I wanted so much to be a part of this. So where should I put this stuff, Elle?
Just you're part of it already. You don't have to do anything. Go home, be safe. And then when you get home, lay down and just, participate. Okay.
Okay.
You don't have to do anything. You're
Well,
already.
I'll be home in like, hopefully if the car makes it, I'll be home in like 5-10 minutes. I just, I didn't want to not call in because it's been really, you have no idea. But anyway.
All right.
All right. So I should be home in like 5-10 minutes, but, and then I have stones at home, but just while I'm driving, is there anything I can think? I mean, I can do two things at once.
No, absolutely not.
So
No,
I'll still be part of it, Elle?
absolutely. You're being held.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
That's it. Thanks.
Ria's asking in the chat, is it possible to do this from a seated position or do we have to be lying down?
You could do it from a seated position. Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. In fact, people who work at home, do writing or, are always on calls, will put a form of chumpies around them while they're sitting and they're at their computer. Yeah.
It's not great for your ankles when you step on a 2 and it starts to do this, but I can say as someone who constantly has chumpies around my chair, it works.
Anybody else?
All right.
Okay.
Elle, do you want to go ahead and make sure you put on your original sound? So we're going to hear the gongs and everything really well.
Okay, so, okay. Wait a minute. This meeting may be viewed. It's being covered up.
Okay,
Oh.
let me see.
Did I do it?
I think I did it for you. I think it's going to
Okay.
be okay. We're going to
Okay.
say that I did it.
Okay.
Don't think about it. I heard that from a wise woman. Just go with
I'm good at not thinking, I'll tell you that.
it.
Okay.
have your food? Thanks.
You can all come back to the call. Denise, are you there?
Hi, I'm here.
Oh,
Hello. That was quite something. So I had a big piece of chrysocolla on my heart, and Chumpies, um when you started to make the sounds, I felt immediately like the stones in the square on the sides of me had like really thick tendons that were attached to my heart. And the nice thing about tendons is that they're not rigid. So I felt very safe, but yet in a flexible container, right? So it was interesting feeling. And I met that place, the Jam Up, and it wasn't as I've been dancing with the Jam Up recently, doing a very intense dance with the Jam Up, and it wasn't loaded with emotionality as it's been, right? So it was a lot softer place. It was there just wasn't a lot of like emotion or really maybe fear attached to that place, as there has been, right? Or frustration or all the things that come up at that place. So there was not, yeah, it was just really nice to meet that place in a very different space and relationship to it. Very, very different than I've ever known. It was quite something. And when you did the feathers, I just felt them. It certainly felt like it was just clearing away, and it just felt, it was very comforting. There was something else, I just can't think of it right now. But yeah, just meeting that place and having an entirely different relationship to it was pretty profound. So
thank you.
yes.
Any other takers to share before we sort of get off the phone and finish? No?
Oh, I didn't know if I could unmute. Yes, it was very, very, there was like a lot of Tibetan kind of energy for me, and, being up on a mountain and being like sitting, seeing myself in a meditation, and then a lot of shaking up inside of me, like I don't know what sounds it was, but almost like those Dippin' Dot cones, you know, those little things like shaped like in me, like I felt like my cells were vibrating. And then it was very clear. And then I was in the water and then came up like a little kid, you know, like with the sun on me, and felt very, very, I guess, purified, you know. And then like the rings, if you toss a pebble in a lake, like the rings are all in harmony. I felt very balanced and very much like expanding those rings like looking at the earth as well. That there was a lot of harmony today, and I felt that as well.
Hard to articulate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just playing the sounds too, there was a point where, because the bowls kept wanting to be played over and over again. And then there was a point though there where the sound, that I could feel as a collective group,
Yes.
the sound took over and
Yeah.
played us rather than me playing it, you know, and then it just shifted the energy. Shifted. So the sounds were in charge.
Yeah.
Eleanor, I
Yeah.
had my little Charlie sitting on my lap while you were doing this. He loves these sounds.
Oh, really?
And there was a sound you made that was kind of like a tinkling, chimey, almost like, I don't know what, I had my eyes closed, so I didn't see what you were doing.
Uh-huh.
But all of a sudden he jumped up and I heard it too. It seemed like one sound that really stood out from all the others. And it was just like like glass pieces hitting each other or something. I'm not exactly sure what, but he just jumped and I felt it too, but we felt basically very relaxed, relaxation and vibration that, especially the low beginning that you had with the gongs and things. It was really very, very relaxing. I just laid here and found it just something to just relax into. And I wanted to ask you, what were the three things you said? The intention, the sound, and what was the formula that made the transformation? What was it?
Yeah, thought
Thought.
plus form, thought plus form plus sound
Okay.
equals transformation,
Thank
right?
you. Yeah.
It's an ancient equation.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that mine added up to 11.
Oh, so that's the other thing too. If you're new to this, you can pick the stones intuitively if you have Chumpi stones or the cards, and then you can add them up. And then whatever they add up to usually is the medicine. And then you could work with that state of consciousness. Like manifestation is number 11, and the shadow of that is longing, like longing for something.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And just
awful. It's awful.
right, but that's kind of what it can, you know, you could work with tonight, especially since the energy is so like so supportive, is 11 and the other stone, to like go into that 8 and like fall into the middle. It too shall come. Somebody said that, right? They shall come.
Yeah, that was wild. Thank you so much for that.
Val, are you?
Yeah, just adding up the numbers. All right, so numbers for me were 33, which is a very significant number for me, because it makes me think of like God consciousness, Christ consciousness, like vibration. And then that, of course, reduces to a 6. What's 6? Communion, right? Yeah. So just like things I saw, the first thing I saw was like, don't ask me to make sense of this. Twilight Zone. It's like the beginning of the Twilight Zone. I'm seeing all these different images of sight, of sound, of mind. And then next thing I know, I'm seeing the guy. I don't know if you all seen this film. It's called Get Out. and it's like this black guy, and he's sitting. It's basically the story is like, he has this like girlfriend. He's black. He's going to visit like these white people in the country and stuff, and they like are taking black people and like taking their energy and sort of like sucking out of them their life force. Anyhow, he's sitting in this chair. He's been hypnotized by the mother of his girlfriend. He realizes he's like paralyzed and he's sinking down into the chair, into the ground. And then I'm like, okay. And then I see this light above, and I feel like, oh, that's the creator, like saying, here I am, I can get you out of this jam. And then it was like, the last thing I saw when I was listening to all of the sounds, especially toward the end, actually I saw it twice, was this huge painting full of loads of sort of mingling and dripping colors. And it was like, relax, like you don't have to worry about like making it look like something, because the images that want to emerge will emerge. And that's all I got from that. It's a lot, but yeah.
That was a lot. You must be a writer or something like that, you know, because you got a really good story in there.
Now I got 33 as well.
Hey,
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So good to see you.
Wow. Double 3.
yeah.
Unification times 3 squared. Well, I think this has been whatever. I think I really am so grateful that everybody showed up, because it takes a village. Somebody said that. It really does. This is like the time where it's like the lone wolf is not what it's about. It's about a collective energy, like a collective group growing and growing and growing with intention and with love and just working it out. So I really appreciate everybody that came to this virtual wisdom call. We're going to have more, and like you can text me if it's like, you know, if you've never heard about this before, and we're talking stones, numbers, thoughts, and sounds, and it's all kind of confusing. Just text me and ask me questions. Okay? All right, great. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of the night. Bye-bye. Love you all. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you.